Bazubazu is a suite of communicative, cooperative, and sometimes competitive games. They're set in a light LMS with a user dashboard, modding tools, and community space. And in the games, the players work together to negotiate information and rapidly solve problems. They're classroom games for beginning to intermediate level language learners. And what we really want to do is we want to leverage that physical proximity and player and teacher interaction to maximize learning outcomes inside the classroom. The games feature discrete interfaces, information, and interactions that make communication the key competency. So the two young women here playing Cookie Cafe, and one of them is a server in the dining room, and that's what she sees in the game. And she takes orders from the diners, and the other is in the kitchen. So she's looking at the cafe's kitchen. She's the chef, and she's responsible for assembling the orders. Because they're in separate game spaces, they need to exchange information in order to accomplish those goals. The games are typically between 5 and 15 minutes long, and they're designed to be easily integrated into existing curriculum. And the mechanics are simple, yet allow for emergent gameplay. Each game focuses on specific lexical sets, speech acts, and discourse functions. And they range from the tightly structured games like the one that I'm going to show you to open-ended role plays. There are pre-game exercises that introduce the target language and post-game assessment and debriefing features that consolidate learning and extend the game space. And the platform provides some feedback on language use, like approximate word counts and T-unit assessment. But mostly the important part of the learning features is the gameplay recordings. So games are recorded and can be replayed, and that will allow for teachers and learners to assess their language use and engage in metagame discussions. There's a user dashboard and modding tools, and those will allow the users to adapt the games and create content. So they can do things like choose the vocabulary that's in particular games, script dialogues and role plays, create their own settings, and even modify the games to learn other languages. Users will be able to share the game assets they create, as well as like supplementary materials, things like lesson plans. And learners should be able to share strategies as well and see leaderboards and achievements. So I'm going to demonstrate Crazy Cleanup. In this game, the players are racing to clean up a house before their parents get home. So the parents have said they're going to leave for the weekend, and the kids throw a big party. It's Saturday morning, and the parents have just called, and they're going to be home in 5 minutes. And the players are madly trying to clean up the house before they get home. And in this game, the target vocabulary is household objects and the accompanying verbs that go with them. And for speech acts, we're really focused on requests, clarifications, confirmations, and some miscellaneous things that come out of the particular avatars that they're using. And this particular setting could be refashioned in any number of ways. It could be set in a school or a park or a business, or it could be changed from cleaning up to preparing for an event. So in the game, there are 4 players, and they're each in separate rooms of the house, and each player has several tasks to accomplish, like vacuuming or washing the dog. And what they have to do is listen for the tasks that are assigned by their teammates and also assign tasks to them. And they have to identify which tasks are theirs and the requirements that are necessary to complete them. And they'll also have to ask their teammates to give them the objects that are necessary to complete those tasks. And along with that, there are some other sort of miscellaneous actions that they do throughout the game. let's see. So after login and device pairing and options and setup and things, the the players will get the chance to choose an avatar. Um, so what we want to do is we want to encourage the players to adopt an identity. Right. So in this case, they could be the angry, impatient, bossy character. And what this will allow them to do is to try out different communication styles, registers, accents, and it has the added benefit of increasing engagement and replayability. Um, during the debriefing session, the players can reflect on and self-report their success at role-playing these characters. The game itself doesn't measure this in any way. The next section is a language preview section. There will be a variety of optional language practice and assessment sections. So, for example, this is a basic vocabulary drill. The players are listening or reading for vocabulary items and matching them. The other kinds of language practice would include practice with longer expressions and going through some of the tutorials for the game. Right, so the language practice and the tutorials are wrapped up together. So this is what the gameplay screen looks like. We are looking at Jimin's screen. You can see her information down there on the bottom in that orange bar. And as you can see, she's in the kitchen. And she's playing with Hayate, Tiffany, and Molly. And they're in other rooms in the house. Hayate's in the living room. Tiffany's maybe in the bedroom. And Molly is in the bathroom, for example. So Jimin gets a prompt, and she tells her partners, put the fish back in the fish tank. Now, it's important to note that these games are played simultaneously. It's not turn taking, so everybody is talking at the same time. So while she's saying put the fish back in the fish tank, Hayate is saying feed the cat, or the cat's hungry. Tiffany's also saying something as well as Molly. All right, and this gives us a really engaging level of cognitive load and a little bit of chaos in the game that makes it quite a lot of fun. So Tiffany says put the fish back in the fish tank. Sorry, Jimin says put the fish back in the fish tank. Tiffany says, oh, I have the fish tank, and I need 3 fish. Right, and Jimin looks on her screen and she sees that she has a fish. At the same time, Hayate keeps repeating, well, feed the cat, feed the cat. And she hears that. So she passes the fish to Tiffany. Tiffany takes the fish, pops it into the fish tank, and Jimin gets a little feedback. Hopefully she'll get some verbal feedback from Tiffany. And her score will be incremented as well. Right. Then she taps on the cat, and once she taps on the cat, she can see what's required to feed the cat. So she needs a cat's bowl and the cat's food. And players can tap on the items in the game to get the language for them. So she can tap on that and see, okay, that's the cat's bowl. She tells her partners, I need the cat's bowl and I need the cat food. And then Molly and Hayate pass her the items, and she matches them with the cat. The cat's happy, her score increments, and the game continues. And at the same time, everybody else is talking and listening. So there are other actions in the game. For example, one of the players might get a phone call. When this happens, gameplay stops for everybody while one of the players proceeds through the dialogue. So mom is calling. She says, "Hi, honey." Jimin tries to choose the appropriate response, and they have conversation. And just like the vocabulary items that are in the game can be exchanged for easier or more difficult ones, these dialogues can also be scripted. Let's see, so gameplay continues. Tiffany's still looking for that fish. She doesn't find it. They run out of time. The parents come home and they get into trouble. All right, and this ends the game, and then at this point, the players get feedback on their game performance, like the number of tasks they accomplished, their response times, and they can also gain achievements for things like high word counts and stuff like that. So after this, there's another round of optional language assessment. Right, so again, things like vocabulary drills. What we expect to see out of this is faster recall times and improved accuracy identifying the target items. So the next part is the debriefing section, and this is where players can watch replays of the game and reflect on their performance. So what we're looking at here is, let's see, in the top right, that's G-Min's kitchen screen, and then those other three boxes would be other rooms in the house. And they can scrub through the game and replay parts of it. And you know that the natural inclination is to discuss the games and revisit the successes and the failures and the funny moments. And so by integrating this feature into the games, I think we can really maximize the learning outcomes, you know, by providing opportunities for continued socialization and metagame discussion. And the players can have the chance to act as mentors, give each other advice, devise strategies for the next round, and really get a sense of participation with the game and teamwork. This is also, of course, meant to give them the opportunity to explore their interlanguage and developing their noticing skills, right? So they can look at it and say, "Oh, geez, I totally forgot the plurals," or "I'm not speaking in full sentences," or "somebody was talking to me and I couldn't understand them, but now I can understand exactly what they were trying to say." Teachers will also be able to use the recordings for formative assessment, and in particular draw attention to the language that was used in the game. And it's important to note that the game does not require players to produce specific language structures or words. We want them to succeed at the game at whatever level they can. So even if that's, you know, one word, two words at a time, that's fine. At whatever level that they can communicate, we want them to achieve success. And then after the game, once that's finished, we want the ability to provide the chance for these salient teaching moments, right? So for example, the teacher may ask the students to look for syntax errors or pull out particularly good or particularly problematic utterances and address that, and then have them play it again. The final section is a chance for the players to reflect on their performance and write self-assessments. And again, these are the kinds of questions that could be modified by the teachers or the learners themselves, right? So in particular, they get the chance to reflect on whether or not they were able to role play a particular character well. All right, there's a lot more to talk about and a lot of other little games that I'd like to talk about, but I think I better end this here. Um, Thanks much, and any and all feedback would be appreciated.